and we're going to begin. I think I'm going to begin in verse 24. Therefore God gave them up in the lusts of their hearts to impurity, dishonoring of their bodies among themselves, because they exchanged the truth of God for a lie and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. I'm going to come back to that verse a little later. For this reason, God gave them up to dishonorable passions. What were those dishonorable passions, right? So Romans 1, Romans 2, Romans 3 to verse 20 are concerned with identifying sin and identifying different categories of people and showing all people, Jew, Gentile, moral, immoral, everybody's a sinner. And it works systematically through it. Then you get to the point of redemption, 3:21 and forward in the Christian life, chapter 5 through chapter 8 largely, okay? So here, it's the beginning of the unveiling of unrighteousness. And he says that here's the dishonorable passion. Their women exchanged natural relations for those that are contrary to nature. The men likewise gave up natural relations with women that were consumed with passion for one another, men committing shameless acts with men and receiving in themselves the due penalty for their error. It's talking about homosexual acts. And it's saying this goes against nature in this way. There's a component of natural law that's subverted in the act of homosexuality. And natural law sandwiches with biblical law, and both together point out that it falls short of the glory of God. It's just a statement of what is. Now, what happens is the church is it was pretty good at identifying this. It's becoming not as good these days. That's why number 4 in our sermon series is on sexual liberation. We have a hard time dealing with this. For a long time, in my long time I mean like 1900 years, this was a given ethically. In fact, so much so that if you wanted to talk about homosexuality, the first text that most people thought of, Romans 1, 18 through 32. That's the text. There's other texts, 1 Corinthians 6, 1 Timothy 1. There's other texts that come to mind, but this was the big one. This is the text, right? Keep reading. Verse 28, since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind to do what ought not to be done. And then this is where more fundamentalist Christians often stopped. See, that kind of sexual perversion, brother, sister, is a debased thing. Keep reading. What things were they given up to that actually reflected a debased mind? They were filled with all manner of unrighteousness, evil, covetousness, malice. They're full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, maliciousness. They're gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. Who here honestly treats foolishness the same way they treat homosexuality? I mean, who here treats disobeying your parents the same as perverted sexual conduct? There's not a lot of social blogs about disobedient to parents. There's not a lot about foolishness. But because we curate it is the point. Right? This piece here, and it's as though we're afraid that if we lift this up, we'll somehow bring this down. That's not the point. The point isn't to bring this down and go, well, all right, I guess homosexuality isn't that big a deal. No, it is a big deal. Here's the problem. Disobedience to parents is a big deal. We don't act like it is. Foolishness is a big deal. We don't act like it is. Heartlessness is a big deal. We don't act like it is. That's the problem. It's not bringing them together, it's bringing this up because we've enculturated a kind of nonsense that we now pacify as just part of the growing up years. It's not. It's not. We've protracted adolescence. So now you literally, you can be 30 years old. 30 years old. And you're talked about like you're a kid. I mean, like you're a kid. And 100 years ago, you'd already been working in Dad's farm for 15 years. I sound like an old man.